If you like and wish to be alerted every time we release a new episode, please subscribe and like us. Thank you very much for following us. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Only some technical information. Please write and send your questions on the chat using the question and answer button on the left top. Also, because of high number of participants, only speakers will be authorized to use the audio, and the recording and PowerPoint will be sent via email link to all those participating to the webinar until the end. So today's webinar is about anchovies industry and sustainability. The case study participant and special guest today will be the Italian company L'Isola d'Oro, represented by Greta Colombi, social responsibility consultant of the company. Good afternoon, Greta. How are you? Can you hear me well?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Paolo, today?
Everything fine, everything fine. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you for the invitation.
it's a pleasure. I would also like to remind everybody of next super interesting webinar on the 8th of September at 3 p.m. Central European Time about status of butterflies and moths. Friend of the Earth's Butterfly Safe certified agriculture and the Global Butterfly Census Program. So the WSO, the World Sustainability Organization, was started on the wave of the positive experience and tangible conservation results of the Dolphin Safe Tuna project of the US NGO Thailand Institute, which saved millions of dolphins from potential bycatch in the tuna industry. I have collaborated with the Earth Island for over 30 years, and currently I am the director of the international programs of the Dolphin Safe project. And WSO founded the Friend of the Sea in 2008 and Friend of the Earth in 2018 to certify products and services which respect the marine and land environment. Over 1,000 companies from 100 countries have products certified by these standards. So let's now dive into today's webinar subject with some preliminary information. An anchovy is a small, common forage fish of the family Engraulidae. Most species are found in marine waters, but several will enter brackish water, and some in South America are restricted to fresh water. More than 140 species are placed in 17 genera, as you can see here. They are found in the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans, and in the Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea. Anchovies are usually classified as oily fish. And as you can see, the Engraulis genera is considered the type genus for anchovy. In other words, it is the genus which defines the biological family and the root of the family name. So anchovies are small green forage fish with blue reflections due to a silver-colored longitudinal stripe that runs from the base of the caudal tail fin. They range from 2 to 40 centimeters in adult length. The snout is blunt with tiny, sharp teeth in both jaws. The snout contains a unique rostral organ believed to be electrosensory in nature, although its exact function is unknown. The mouth is larger than that of herring, a fish which anchovies closely resemble in other respects. The anchovy eats plankton and recently hatched fish, small fish. They are filter feeders that open their mouth as they swim. The anchovy is a significant food source for almost every predatory fish, marine mammals, and birds in its environment. Spawning of the European anchovy occurs between October and March, but not in water colder than 12 degrees centigrade. The anchovy appears to spawn at least 100 kilometers, about 60 miles from the shore, near the surface of the water. So here are the 6 commercially significant species, as you can see. The longest, living longer and heavier, is the California anchovy. However, the differences between the species on these factors are not so relevant. IUCN has assessed 2 or 3 of these species, and it considers them as least concern. In general, because of the short life cycle and resilience to fishing and improved fisheries management practices in recent years, there is no concern that any of these species could go extinct. And on a world map, these are the distributions of the main commercial anchovy species. The European and Japanese anchovies having a wider geographical range somehow. According to the FAO, anchovy and sardines make up 13% of the global catch in 2012. And this percentage is likely to be the same in more recent years. These small fish are consumed by humans, but they are also used for aquaculture feed, industrial oil, and health supplements. The major anchovies fishery is by far the one targeting the Peruvian anchovy, as you can see, the anchoveta, followed by the Japanese anchovy, and then the European anchovy fishery and catches. The Peruvian anchovies catches, as you can see, have been often predominant over the catch of other species, other anchovy species, with the exception of the period between the 70s and the 80s, when the fishery collapsed due to a mix of environmental and overfishing factors. The Peruvian anchovies still represent over 50%, even in more recent years, of the total catch, with increases in recent years of the Japanese anchovies catch, as you can see on the graph on the right. While in some cases actual stock assessments are not carried out, it is possible to conclude with a high degree of certainty about the status of the anchovies fisheries, which are often managed based on total allowable catches and closely monitored. The Japanese anchovy fishery stock is considered to be overfished, probably the only one for which overfishing is occurring on a wider range. And the second biggest fishery, the one for European anchovy, is generally considered to be fully exploited and within precautionary limits, even though it is highly influenced by fluctuations due to environmental changes. And in the past, it has, in some of its studied areas, the GSAs, the geographical sub-areas, been overexploited. The other fisheries are considered to be within maximum sustainable yield in terms of biomass abundance and fishing mortality. Here, as a reference, I am providing you with some more detailed conclusions for the different areas where the European anchovy is caught, the GSAs. More is available also in the ICES report, ICES report, and advices for the Northeast Atlantic. Anchovy is caught mainly by 2 kinds of fishing gears: mid-water pair trawls. Sometimes they are also single trawls. In Italian, they're called volante, and purseines. In Italian, in the traditional fishery, they're called lampara because of the use of a lamp at night. The midwater trawls seem to raise more potential impact issues, in particular, as far as selectivity is concerned, as they potentially lead to higher catches of undersized anchovies and other fish species trawled as bycatch. There's also higher interaction in this fishing method with dolphins, which in some cases can lead to dolphins being harassed or killed. Finally, while they are more effective in catching, they can waste more energy per unit of catch. In general, however, one can conclude that anchovies catching is and fishing is very selective when compared with other fisheries and other fishing methods, as anchovy schools are normally mono-species, composed only or almost entirely only of anchovies. So management improvement measures can further lower the impacts, such as use of pingers and special LED lights, which tend to discourage marine mammals from approaching the net, or appropriate fishing seasons to prevent catch of juveniles or undersized individuals. Several fleets and fisheries, about 17, have been audited and approved friend of the sea in some of the major fishing grounds around the globe, as you can see in the map. Over 26 companies and major suppliers for human consumption and fish meal and fish oil producers are adding up to this and have anchovies products certified friend of the sea worldwide. Among these, l'Isola d'Oro, who will be our special guest today. But before I pass the microphone to Greta Colombini, let me share with you today's poll over which you can vote interactively from your screen the answer you would deem best. We will share the answers and the actual solution at the end of the webinar. So here is I'm going back to the presentation. I'll stop my screen sharing. I hope you managed to see my presentation correctly because I'm in quite a remote location. So was everything fine, Greta?
It was perfect. Your presentation was great and very clear. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Yes, I will let you share the screen. Just 1 second. I wanted to share the poll. And the question today is who consumes annually more seafood or aquatic species in terms of weight, metric tons, among the following: humans by means of fisheries, whales, both baleen and large-toothed whales, dolphins, and pinnipeds or seals. So let us know what is your best guess, and then we'll see the answer with some more details at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today to talk with you about something I really care of and something I think everybody should really care of, because sustainability is a very important social and environmental issue nowadays. So thanks, Friends of the Sea, for the invitation and for giving me the opportunity to talk about something I really care. So let me introduce you to l'Isola d'Oro. L'Isola d'Oro is an Italian fish preserves company that was born in Parma in the early 90s. From an idea of our two founders, Ferruccio Zarotti and Tommaso Tommasello. They both boast a profound knowledge of the raw materials, the production process, and the management of the supply chain. These are some of the reasons why they have been able to create a very strong company that has grown and developed during the last years. I prepared a video that I really like. It's a brief video, but I prepared it and it may explain to you so much better than I would ever be able to do the DNA and the history of l'Isola d'Oro. I hope you enjoy it as I did the first time I saw it. So let's see the video. Okay, let's see. Here we go. So here we go. I hope you like it. So we can go ahead with the presentation. In the video, it has been shown which are the driving values of L'isoladoro. I mean the principle that pilot our decision and our actions. We can take a better look at them together. So first of all, we have Italianness, because we promote the Italian know-how. From the raw material to the entire production process, we carry on the tradition and the expertise of several generations of Italian fishermen and merchants. After that, we want to spread the importance of a correct way of eating for the maintenance of our health, with products that are at the same time healthy and nutritional and also very tasty. We really care also about sustainability. We realize as a fish company our responsibility towards the environment and the society in general. This is why we are trying very hard to give a positive contribution to the community we live in and to lower our environmental footprint through several projects. I will tell you something more about this project later on during the presentation. And we also strive to use the best raw material that we can find that Italy can furnish, because we want to guarantee the best product to our client. One of the most important driving values for Isladoro is innovation. We keep studying new products, new packaging, new ideas, new recipes. We are supporting several scientific researches because we want to improve not only our company and ourselves, but also the community we live in. And in particular, we wanted to continuously enhance our proposal. We also believe in the transparency of the company. This is why we strive to achieve several certifications that could assess the goodness of our practices, as France FTC does. So let's see something more about sustainability. As sustainability is founded on three major pillars which are environmental, social, and economic sustainability, we have been taking care during these years to each of these sectors. I have simply written some examples of what we have done during these years, and later on the presentation, I'm gonna explain you something more about what we do. So for social sustainability, we create and promote projects to increase public awareness to social issues that we care about. In particular, we really go fast with innovative children's educational programs, and the project aim to increase inclusiveness both in children and in adults. For what concerns environmental sustainability, we not only care about the ocean well-being, following the international guidelines for the sustainable fisheries, but we also promote the circular economy. What does it mean? It means that we try to valorize the food discard that can be used, for example, in the pet food industry. And we also use renewable energy through solar panels that are in our plants. We are also trying to develop more eco-friendly packaging with a lower carbon footprint. And at the end, this is very important, we support local communities, local businesses, because the production process is still almost all handmade. And it means that we have a local workforce which gain a high technical expertise during their job. So as I told you in the previous slide, One of our strengths is the commitment to local communities and our interest in children education. This is why we support several projects aimed to teach children a healthy and sustainable lifestyle, the acceptance of diversity, the importance of social inclusion, and also we try to help them to build their self-esteem. All of this is not by following the principle of learning by doing or learning by playing. This is very important because children are not learning through theoretical and annoying ways, but they're doing it by playing game, doing sport, participating in fun and engaging activities. In this way, children can learn much more than what we can even imagine. Children are encouraged of trying new sport, of exploring their creativity, their inner self through several forms of art, from acting to music, painting, crafting, whatever. And thanks to this project, they can gain important interpersonal and other cross skills. Not only this, but they can also learn a new notion on sustainability, on healthy diet, on the importance of physical activities through laboratories and games. These at the bottom of the slide are some of our partners, I mean GeoCampus, Madegus, and Muse. GeoCampus and Madegus are two spin-offs of the University of Parma. Their aim is to promote an healthy lifestyle in children, developing the knowledge and habits for eating well and practicing physical activities. Muse instead is an international reality that brings art into school to develop in children different kind of intelligence, qualities and talents that are often kept hidden in the first years of schools, and to boost cultural inclusion and the respect of diversity. The same principles that we apply to the world of children are applied also to the world of adults. So we sponsor local male and female sport teams, and we organize public events in order to promote the culture of sustainable and healthy lifestyle. We also want to increase public awareness on important issues of nowadays as water scarcity. In 2019, we arranged a great event on the World Water Day that aimed to promote an interactive public art experiment to encourage people to open their eyes on the water crisis and to take a real action. During the event, there was the participation of several experts of different sectors that analyze the problem and give a complete framework of the crisis to the general public. So since I've been talking so much on the importance of healthy eating habits, I want to briefly explain to you something about the nutritional properties of anchovies. First of all, anchovies are an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids and high-quality proteins. Fatty acids and protein are fundamental for the correct body functioning. Why are they? They are so important because they participate to the regulation of functioning of organs and tissues. They participate to the body growth and development, and lots of scientific papers show that they are positively linked to a lower body fat, to a lower risk to develop degenerative disease, and they have been shown to reduce body inflammation. Furthermore, the DHA fatty acid is defined as essential because our body is not able to synthesize heat by itself. So the only way we have to obtain it is to dry it, which made anchovies even more important. Anchovies are also an incredible source of potassium and HD, which are essential to keep our bones, our teeth, and our muscles in a very good shape. Another important aspect that I want to underline is that during the entire production process, the anchovies don't receive any physical or chemical treatment that could alter or modify any way the nutritional properties of this amazing food. Another important aspect is that since anchovies are a small, medium-sized fish, all the risks linked to the bioaccumulation of heavy metal is pretty low, which made them perfect to be consumed more than once a week. So, as already Paolo told you, the anchovy fishing methods with Lampara is respectful of guidelines on sustainable fisheries. First of all, because Lampara minimizes the capture by coach and the disruption of the seabed, which are two very important aspects to assess the impact of the ecosystem well-being by fishing practice. Furthermore, the fleets only operate in certain zones and in certain periods of time that have been established by international guidelines and developed by scientific committees to avoid the risk of overfishing and to guarantee a sustainable management of the fish stock. But since we are also concerned about the marine plastic pollution, we are trying very hard to eliminate virgin plastic from our packaging. We recently established a partnership with a company that develops new and innovative materials. We have already delivered a jar that you can see in the picture here, made of 50% of airPET according to European legislation. airPET is nowadays considered one of the most effective environmental friendly choice. But we didn't limit here. We are also studying and performing jars in PLA. PLA is a bio-based material that is coming from renewable resources and is therefore completely compostable and biodegradable. We hope to release the new packaging very, very soon. Another very important aspect of our effort in sustainability is that the production process has been passed and perfected from generation to generation in Italy. Due to the particularity of the process, it hasn't been automated yet, so it carried out almost completely by hand by our specialized workforce. The process consists in different phases carried out between 24 at maximum 48 hours after the capture of fish. When the fish arrive at the plant, it's cleaned by the workers and washed with salt solution. After that, the anchovies are stratified with salt in wider chickens and undergo the treatment of pressing for at least 30 days. This is the most delicate phase of the entire process because it depends on a lot of different factors, as the size of the fish, the humidity of the environment, and so on. So in this phase, the expertise of the workers play a very important role. After that, the fish is filled and put by hand, as you may see in the picture at the top of the slide. And we may add oil or other spices as we like. At the end of all, the jars are sealed. It is important to say that anchovy fillets don't undergo any sterilization process, so they maintain intact their nutritional properties. So, as I told at the beginning of the presentation, two of our driving values are quality and innovation. Since we are interested in guaranteeing our clients the best services that we can and the transparency of our practices, we pursue the issue of several certifications that assess the high standard of quality and safety of our fish and our fishing and production methods. These certifications involve both the assessment of the sustainability of our fishing methods and the qualification of the goodness of the sanitary level of our production system. But we also keep researching best practice. So we never stop thinking and studying new ideas to make process and enhance our proposal. As we can see from the picture, we developed a very simple solution to avoid the waste of fish and oil in the jar through this simple mechanism that enable the consumer to extract the intact fillet of tuna. This way we can avoid food waste, which is a very another important issue nowadays related to sustainability. And at least since the lifestyle and the habits have changed in the last year, we are trying to combine the old traditional recipes with new flavor to create always new products. We studied the most recent scientific researches on nutrigenomics and on superfoods in order to create products that are even healthier and even more tasty. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you like it and you found it interesting for your business and your job. You can find here the contact of L'isola d'Oro. You can find our website where you can see more information and our product. And there is also our email address if you wanted to ask us of something more, if you are interested in something more. And now I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Greta, for this valuable information, and congratulations also for your company and L'Isola d'Oro for the great initiatives that you have undertaken to reduce your environmental impact. It's really encouraging to see so many companies going in this direction. So I'm sure that the participants appreciated and gather a lot of useful information. Let me just now turn to the poll to break up a little bit, and then we go to the questions and answers. So apparently most people believe that humans are with fisheries are taking the most of the seafood aquatic species, whales second, with the major difference, as you can see, and dolphins. But the truth is slightly, and quite surprisingly also for me, different. But this is all food for thought, and it should not make you conclude that there's no issue with overfishing and so on. This is, of course, something that we have to tackle together. And basically, you'll see the answer here on this slide. Can you see my slide, Greta?
Yes,
Okay.
we can. Yes, we can.
So you can see this study carried out by the Wellbeing International organization. It's not very recent, but I suppose that things didn't change much, at least as far as fisheries catch. You can see that fisheries are between 100 million tons and 150 million tons, depending on what you look at. If you look also at all the illegal fishing and unreported catches and so on. And if you compare that to, for example, the combined whales consumption of marine resources, you can see that the total is higher. And then if you combine all the marine mammals, is higher, probably by double or triple the value that is caught by fisheries. But of course, this was there for a long time. Fisheries have grown in the past 100 years in a very, very important way. So this has generated some changes in the ecosystem and so on, which have to be tackled, and that's why we are here. That's why companies like Isola d'Oro are working in this direction. But as you can see, we are not the number one users of the resources, at least as you know, taking these different categories: humans and whales, marine mammals, and so on. And so we thought we wanted to share this information with you, just food for thought, to put things in the right perspective. Also, as humans are part of the ecosystem, and so this should also be taken into account. Okay, so now I'm going back to our questions and answers. Let's see if we have some questions here. Okay, there's a question for you, Greta. What do you think is the most important characteristic, feature, or features that the sustainability certification should have? For example, marketing, credibility, being a third party, or what else? What do you think that there might be one or more features that you think that the certification should have to be part of your activities, let's say?
I think that the most important ones are being a third-party certification and credibility. Being a third-party certification is very important because we have an objective and a third part that will assess the condition and the status of what we want to certificate, which is very, very important. And the credibility also is very important because we have to found the assessment on international guideline or guideline that are recognized by scientific committees or international panel. So these, in my opinion, are the two most important features that a certification should have.
Okay, great. And so there's another question for you. Do you sell other seafood among your products? We saw some tuna.
Yes.
You don't need to mention exactly who they're certified by, but is your whole food range currently certified, or are you planning to go in that direction?
Not all our proposal is certified. We are carrying on the certification process for most of our products. Some of them are not certificable, but anyway, yes, we have also other food, our items that are certified as tuna, for example.
By the way, do you only do seafood, or do you also have agro food?
Only seafood. We are specialized in seafood, yes. We are fish preserves company, so we only work on seafood.
So there's one question for me. We know you have improved your requirements for fish welfare in aquaculture. Are you planning something similar for fish captured seafood? Yes. We carried out a study with an organization called Fair Fish, and supported by Open Philanthropy, over fish welfare in aquaculture, as there's more scientific evidence showing that fish are sentient beings, and so they should be protected in this sense. And now we are about to launch a major program, which will be a study program, a research program initially, to then introduce new requirements, possibly in some, I think, 3 years' time, 2-3 years' time, in terms of fish welfare in fisheries. So Greta, be ready.
I
because
am.
because of course the different fishing methods have a different way of terminating the life of the fish, and so like in other types of farming or production of animal proteins and so on, one has to also look into a humane or the most humane or less painful, less suffering way of ending the life of the fish in the time of fishing. And so there are some way of catching. Probably perseining is one of the, let's say, fastest and less painful and more humane ways of catching. Others may not be so. So the purpose of the study is to go more in depth on this and to then introduce into our requirements some requirements for fish welfare, which initially will be recommendation and then will be more stringent over the years. So then we have another question for me. Canned products often are canned in oil or with other vegetables. Are you requesting also these agro products to be sustainable? That's a very good question. Well, currently we don't. But as I mentioned initially in my introduction, we do have a certification called Friend of the Earth, which certifies products from sustainable agriculture and farming. And so we are somehow recommending the producers to look at their oil suppliers and possibly get them certified. Maybe they already have some other certifications which somehow are partially equivalent to our requirements for Friend of the Earth, for oil, for other vegetables which can be found on canned seafood. So there's another question. Thank you for your presentation. And as they are congratulating, the content is very clear, interesting, and well explained. Where does the anchovy come from that you use in your process? Is the anchovy also certified by MSC? Feel free, Greta, to answer about this in total transparency. And you can eventually, we have the contact if you believe that some information is more confidential. But I mean, the labels already show in good part the origin and everything. So, what could be your answer to this? Where does the anchovy come from that you use in your process? Is the anchovy also MSC certified?
Yes, of course. We are fishing in particular in the Cantabrico Sea and in the Atlantic and the Pacific Sea. We have also the MSC certification for some of our products as anchovies. It depends on where we fish and the origin and the source of the fishing stock.
And maybe some markets request one certification or the other.
Exactly.
We are very also, as Friend of the Sea, we are very flexible. We highlight some differences between our certification and MSC. We feel we are more independent. We have the third-party recognition, which MSC does not have. It's not verified by the national accreditation bodies. There are some differences. They don't look at the dolphin safe issue, the impact on marine mammals. However, we think that all this goes in the right direction to provide more monitoring and more in-depth knowledge about the origin of seafood. I mean, I remember 30 years ago going around the seafood companies, and they didn't have an idea of, maybe they were dealing with some species which were on the IUCN red list, and they were not aware of that. So all this movement, together with the collaboration of the industry, has made a dramatic change in the awareness, and it's all important. And there is space for more certification. It helps us also to improve while looking at each other. So another comment, great presentation. Thank you for the insight. Can this product be gotten in Africa? Also, well done on your sustainability practices. Keep up with the good work. So where do you sell, Greta? Where is the product sold?
Okay.
And does it go to Africa too, potentially?
Okay, we deliver internationally. We are wide our horizons. Now we are delivering in particular in Italy, in Europe, but I'm sure we can deliver also in Africa, and maybe we have some store in Africa. But you can buy everything on our e-commerce, our shop online, and we can deliver wherever. So this is a good opportunity if you are interested in acquire our product.
Okay, wonderful. So the last question, do you have any fish byproducts generated in your processes? If yes, how are they valorized?
We don't generate byproducts in our production process, but we generate waste, which is different, or at least is different for the Italian legislation, according to the Italian legislation. But we valorize our waste, so it is sent to pet food industry, and it can be used for making pet food. So this is a great example of circular economy, in my opinion, because we don't waste anything.
Great, very clear, Greta. So I think this is all for today. We got a slightly bit less question than usual, but this is quite normal. It's also summertime. There's
Yeah.
people are more keen going maybe to the beach or so. But anyway, the webinar will be, the whole video will be available online for many more people will look at it and so on. And I wish to thank all the participants for their interested participation. I would like to thank also Mario Passoni, who has been staying here beside us as co-trainer in case something went wrong with my connection. Mario,
you're welcome.
Dr. Passoni. Hello, Mario. Dr. Passoni is our Friend of the Sea Scientific Department director, and he has been working with us for many years. And Greta, what can I say? Thank you again so much for your contribution. And I'm sure we'll have other opportunities to talk. There's also an interview with Greta and with the owner of the company, Donatella Zarotti, on our website if you want to watch it. And great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for the attention.
I hope to see you soon to the other webinar on butterflies. Thank you and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, you too. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to our channel to get more content about sustainability.